welcome to Nigeria.
Nigeria and India to scale up existing bilateral relations. Sign memorandum of
conclude
understanding.
that Senate is not in support of judicial sale of assets.
Senate rejects selling of national assets to tackle recession. Plus, state police to be or not to be. House of Representatives passes bill at second reading. Welcome to NTA Network News with me, Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Nigeria is to scale up existing bilateral relations with India in critical economic sectors for the mutual benefits of both countries and their peoples. President Muhammadu Buhari stated these when he received the visiting Vice President of India, Mohammed Hamid Ansari, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Excellency, Salaam alaikum. You are welcome to Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari described the existing collaboration and cooperation between India and Nigeria in various economic sectors as highly beneficial for both countries. Such relationship, he said, will be expanded in areas of health, agriculture, education, trade, as well as technology towards maximizing the benefits. In particular, the president said Nigeria will adopt India's agricultural model and capacity to not only feed its population of over 1 billion people, but also export to other countries, describing it as sustainable and prosperous. He welcomed the proposed investment of $5 billion in the nation's economy by the Indian business community under entourage of the vice president, saying $10 billion had already been invested in Nigeria by India. President Buhari used the forum to re-echo his call for the reform of the United Nations Security Council. As he puts it, it is unfair on the rest of the world for 5 countries to exercise veto powers in the United Nations. The Indian Vice President, Mohammed Hamid Ansari,
agree on. It says Nigeria will look at the areas in which India has shown leadership in the world, such as in science and technology, agriculture, and information technology for help, expressing the hope that this would crystallize as time goes on.
The times, as you also pointed out, call for stronger relationships in both our regional outlook and our international outlook, and our opinions on several of these issues.
India and Nigeria, as strategic partners, it is important that we continue to engage with new ideas and concrete proposals to evaluate this relationship and elevate it to the next higher level.
High point of the event is the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the two countries, with the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, signing on behalf of Nigeria, and the Indian Minister of State for Finance signing on behalf of his country. Letter of intent was also signed by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Indian High Commissioner. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NTA News.
Senate has rejected the idea of selling Nigeria's national assets. The resolution followed submission of the ad hoc committee on report on the state of Nigeria's economy at the Tuesday's Senate plenary. National Assembly correspondent Wazir Zayanu reports.
While presenting the report, Ad hoc Committee Chairman Yahya Abdullahi described it as a template for drawing up recommendations by the Senate.
We have to institute a legislative framework with timelines for certain key government policies, especially in the areas of agriculture, mineral subsector, to boost investors' confidence.
The report was considered clause by clause at the plenary, with further suggestions made.
As far as I'm concerned, Nigeria is not bankrupt. We're only in recession. So it does not call for sale of assets.
We'll be selling very low and later probably be buying very high.
I believe if you had the correct census of the contributions made, this Senate was opposed to selling our assets.
I think what we should do is put the question, then we assume that the question will conclude that Senate is not in support of judicial sale of assets. So put the question on prayer 3. Prayer 3 as recommendation 3. Those in support of recommendation 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it.
As at plenary, spokesman of the upper chambers, Aliu Sabi, described it as erroneous for people to jump the gun and threaten court action when the Senate has not accepted the idea of selling the national assets.
Let's say it very clear and in unmistakable terms. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in deliberating the state of the economy, has also rejected the idea of the sale of national assets.
A total of 5 bills and 9 motions were presented on the floor of the Senate, while 2 new senators were sworn in. They are from Kogi and Imo states. In the meantime, Senate President has pledged continued collaboration with the Nigerian Youth Parliament. He stated these were representative of the Parliament paid courtesy call to the Senate. The Senate adjourned plenary till Thursday. From the National Assembly, Wazir Zayan, NTA News.
Still at the Senate, Chairman Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory, Senator Dine Melai, has reiterated that the National Assembly will continue to protect the interests of Nigerians and ensure that they are not shortchanged by the actions or inactions of government agencies. This was at the meeting with the FCT Minister and the Chief of Army Staff over acquisition of a portion of land in Maitama District by the Nigerian Army. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
Chairman of the Senate committee said the committee received a petition by some persons claiming ownership of the plot that soldiers at the entrance of the district were acting on the order by their superiors to take over the plots.
Within our mandates as a Senate and a committee, and we will be interested in giving us information, concrete information. Who owns the land?
The Minister of FCT, Mohammed Bello, requested that the committee give them time to put heads together with the Nigerian Army on the matter.
Whoever has a CFO has full ownership of that land. Whoever has a grant has partial ownership until he or she has or had paid all the relevant fees. So for all intents and purposes, I think all allottees of plots in the area called Maitama should have no fear.
The land used to be our training area and the land reserved for future development.
There are no documentary evidence has been adduced to the fact that it belongs to them. So we expect that something will be done in this army-civilian relationship.
The Nigerian Army and the FCT Ministry were given a period of 2 weeks to negotiate and report back to the committee the rightful owner of the 238 hectares of land in question. On the movement of cattle in the city.
Instructions that any cow seen in the city should be slaughtered. And the alternative to that is that we have asked that a fine of 50,000 be placed on one cow found in the city.
From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
Still at the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has passed at second reading a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of a state police in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports that the House also passed at third reading a bill for an act to establish a forest research institute in Nigeria.
The arguments for or against the amendment of Section 2 and 4 of the 1999 Constitution, which seeks to establish state police in Nigeria, has been on for a long time. At present, members of the House are in support of it, as the bill to that effect, sponsored by Representative Abiodun Awoleye from Oyo State, passed second reading.
To ensure that we have state police establishment in all the states of the Federation, it is also a fact that the movement of the police from one place to the other does not allow the officers and staff to actually understand the terrain very well where they work.
A bill for an act to amend the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure Act, which seeks to ensure fair hearing for any member accused of defaulting, sponsored by Representative Benny Lar from Plateau State, passed second reading.
The element of fair hearing should be inserted in this bill, because sometimes it will cure the ill from victimization, because sometimes people just trump up some charges against workers.
Members urge the federal government to stop the importation of military and paramilitary uniforms and gadgets and turn to local production as a way of saving cost of governance, as moved by Representative Prestige Osi from Abia State.
The Nigerian Army, in the 2015 appropriation, they had 487.6 million naira appropriated, but in 2016 they have 2 billion naira.
The House received 5 reports from its Committee on Public Petitions. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Minister of Defense Muhammad Mansur Ali has restated Nigeria's support for total elimination of nuclear weapons to ensure a safe, secure and peaceful world. The minister stated this at a high-level meeting on nuclear disarmament in New York. Gabriel Odu has the report.
Nigeria's defense minister said the meeting is holding as a major step in checking the proliferation of nuclear weapons and to urge nations to observe conventions and protocols, adding that dialogue and negotiations are consequential to peace and security.
In this regard, we must remain steadfast and proactive, engaged in our call on the elimination of nuclear weapons and the possibility of total ban.
The minister further stated Nigeria's position on import of the meeting.
Due to the proliferance of this terrorism, fanaticism and other extremists, we are being very careful not to allow it to be in the hands of non-nuclear actors.
United Nations Resolution 1653 of 1961 prohibits use of nuclear and thermonuclear weapons. From the United Nations headquarters in New York, Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy has arrested 6 suspected oil thieves in Akwa Ibom State. In a statement signed by the Director Information Nigerian Navy, Commodore Christian Ezekobi, announced that 3 of the suspected oil thieves were arrested around Prime Energy, while others were caught conveying 10 drums of allegedly stolen petrol and 5 drums of illegally refined diesel in 3 speedboats. The statement also added that the sum of more than 2.6 million naira cash was found on the suspects, who have been handed over to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Similarly, NNS Pathfinder patrol team successfully raided an illegal refinery in Isaka community in Rivers State, where a Cotonou-registered boat loaded with crude oil was impounded. The Nigerian Navy has also launched a crackdown on illegal groups impersonating its personnel in coastal states. So far, 16 persons have been arrested in Lagos and Ogun states, while their training camps were destroyed. In its quest to ensure that the Nigerian military plays a key role in the promotion and protection of human rights, the National Human Rights Commission is engaging the top echelon of the Nigerian Army to see the need for the review of the Armed Forces Act. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkumar reports that this is the main thrust of the Nigerian Military Human Rights Dialogue holding in Abuja.
The series of allegations of human rights violation by the nation's armed forces.
Present security needs of Nigeria.
The Nigerian Armed Forces Act was last reviewed in 2004. In Abuja, Isaac Nkumar, NTA News.
Back to the story on the visiting Vice President of India. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was also at a joint Nigeria-India business forum where he announced that the volume of trade between the two countries stands at $17 billion in 2015. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has details.
The $17 billion is described as a significant increase from about $6 billion recorded in less than 10 years ago. Describing the rise of India in the world economy as a significant source of investment, it calls for the inclusion of business people in both countries. Government, it says, will speed up infrastructure development such as power, road and rail.
We are fully confident that we shall return to positive growth very soon. This is because the Nigerian government has responded to the situation by adopting policies to boost economic activities and to lay a foundation for long-term growth. Our vision is anchored on a paradigm shift in governance towards transparency and accountability and making it easier to do business as we diversify the economy.
The Vice President says high-level engagements between the two countries have contributed to strengthening bilateral relations and providing a good basis for mutually beneficial business ties. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The African Development Bank has set aside $1 billion to create more than 8 million agribusiness jobs for youths in Africa. Similarly, the United States Agency for International Development has pledged to support agricultural policy of the federal government with $12.5 million. Musa Baba Aliyu has details.
The Enable Youth Empowering Novel Agribusiness program is an initiative of the African Development Bank, which aims at putting an end to youth unemployment and migration for greener pasture outside the continent. The bank, in collaboration with the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, is expected to create over 8 million agribusiness jobs within 5 years for youth in Africa and 37,000 young Nigerians, including men and women, to benefit from the initiative. The president of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adeshina, visited IIT Abuja Training Center for discussions on the implementation of the project in the country.
And we are trying to develop agribusiness, also computer scientists, coders, programmers, and those that will also be IT entrepreneurs for Africa.
Similarly, the United States, through its Agency for International Development, plans to support Nigeria with capacity building and financial support to achieve sustainable growth in agriculture.
Until we get the agriculture sector in Nigeria moving, we will not see that vision for Nigeria's future.
The United States government has expressed confidence in the agricultural diversification policy of the federal government. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says Nigeria is open to the world for investment in the tourism sector of the nation's economy. The minister stated this at this year's the minister stated this at the World Tourism Day celebration for 2016 in Lagos. Anthony Forson reports that the event also witnessed the unveiling of the Eco-Atlantic City.
Rising up the coast is the world's fastest developing megacity, the Eco-Atlantic City, a 21st century city that will provide vital real estate for people to live and work in the future financial capital of West Africa. Located adjacent to Victoria Island and Lekki in Lagos, Nigeria, it is situated on a 10 million square meters of land and protected by an 8.5 kilometer sea wall. When completed, it will have the largest shopping mall in sub-Saharan Africa, an international academy, and a district that will be one of the most prestigious and desirable hubs of Eco-Atlantic City. At a press conference to commemorate this year's World Tourism Day, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said the federal government is determined to make tourism viable, hence the choice of this year's celebration with Eco-Atlantic City.
While I would like to reiterate Nigeria's readiness to explore and exploit tourism for the benefit of its economy, I can confidently add that Eco-Atlantic City has what it takes to drive tourism in Nigeria.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode, who was represented by his deputy, Idayat Adebule, said Lagos State is a tourism investment haven.
The ambience of the state is a natural attraction for investors in the hospitality and recreation sector.
27th of September every year has been set aside as World Tourism Day, a day to draw greater attention to tourism development around the world. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Still to come, religious leaders re-emphasize the need for peace in the land if Nigeria must develop. Details of these and others after this break. Don't go away.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the program of events to commemorate Nigeria's 56th independence anniversary. Detail of the program is as follows. Friday, 30th September, public lecture 11 a.m. to 12:50 p.m. Venue, National Mosque, Abuja. Attendance is open. Jumat prayers 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Venue, National Mosque, Abuja. Attendance is open. Saturday, 1st October, presidential change of guard. Venue, forecourt of the Presidential Villa, State House, Abuja. Attendance is strictly by invitation. Bolaji Adebiyi, Director Press, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Announcer.
The family of Okon has been taken hostage by an
development here at Bayes University, Abuja. So learn to live at Bayes University for a brighter future. For more information, visit our website at www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng or call 081 3376 9657 or 081 3376 9658. Bayes University, Abuja. Learn to live.
His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State and Chairman Main Committee of the state's 20th anniversary celebrations, Malim Ibrahim Okali Muhammad, on behalf of the government and good people of the state, cordially invites the general public to the great event scheduled.
Kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Does your antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid? Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. So why take a risk with your loved ones?
Dettol Mom. She only trusts Dettol antiseptic liquid to kill 100 illness-causing germs, and it's recommended for cuts and scrapes. Worry less and love more. Don't just be any mom, be a Dettol mom. Dettol, be 100% sure.
This is to announce the launching of a biography on President Muhammadu Buhari titled Muhammadu Buhari, The Challenges of Leadership in Nigeria, authored by renowned Professor of International Studies at George Mason University, USA, Professor John N. Pardon. Date is Monday, 3rd October 2016. Venue, International Conference Center, Area 10, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. prompt.
They are on ground and everywhere is going to be peaceful, I pray, and it's going to be conclusive.
There was heavy presence of security personnel and INEC officials. We are making last-minute checks for onward movement to their areas of assignments. In Benin, Steve Lonai, Nwakolo, NTA News.
As the call for the sale of national assets continue to elicit more debates across the country, guests on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria have called for caution, stressing that the sale of prime national assets to bring the country out of economic recession could be counterproductive going forward. Joy Uzo reports.
The guest strongly opposed to the proposed plan to sell the Nigeria liquefied natural gas, NLNG, saying the action is not a solution to the economic challenges facing Nigeria. They noted that assets like the NLNG and the NNPC, among others, are very important to the country and urged government to tread with caution.
It means it is these people who are buying this gas, this LNG, that will now have exclusive access to 188 trillion cubic feet of our own gas reserves. Yeah. That means they are going to put this country in perpetual slavery and bondage.
The issue of the sale of assets, government should be advised to put on hold. Because if they choose to go ahead, we will lead an opposition.
While stressing that there are other measures that can be taken to revive the economy, the guests recalled some of the assets government had sold in the past, which are not doing well. They advised government to only sell non-functional refineries, railways and some airports. The guest suggested that proceeds from sale of such assets should be invested in areas like agriculture, entrepreneurship development and manufacturing to rejuvenate the economy.
People are looking at it as if the moment you sell the assets and then the $14 billion, the economy will back to shape. No.
There are some other things that could be concessioned and we could raise cash on the short run to deal with some issues that are confronting us at the moment.
The guest stressed the need for government to adopt better planning strategies to ensuring proper implementation of plans. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, and the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja Diocese, John Cardinal Onayekon, have emphasized the need for peace in the country for development to strive. They stated this at a religious summit in Abuja. Ruben Okala reports.
The summit, organized by the King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue, in collaboration with the National Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, aims at promoting interreligious dialogue to prevent and resolve conflicts. The 3-day summit is x-raying peace and security situation in the country with the aim of providing solution. The clerics called on Nigerians, irrespective of religious and cultural differences, to always embrace peace. Other speakers called on the federal government to continue the quest to bring peace to trouble-prone spots of the country. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
The Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency says River State and part of Niger Delta region are vulnerable to flood disaster, in spite of the fact that the level of indicators as at September have not exceeded the 2012 indices. A flood awareness forum in Port Harcourt announced this. Kingsley Amajiri has details.
Earlier prediction by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency indicates that River State and parts of Niger Delta region would be flooded arising from the surge in sea level. Already 6 out of the 9 predicted flood-prone local government areas in the state are flooded. Director General of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency represented said flood disaster in the country is expected to rise owing to deforestation, rise in sea level, among others. The possible solution, he explained, include attitudinal change, construction of dams, reservoirs, among others.
Our prediction has been proven right. So the implication is that people must prepare, and that's what we are doing now in trying to sensitize the people.
The River State government said it is embarking on canal desetting, enforcement of town planning codes as measures to check flooding in the state.
We saw people displaced. We suffered massive socio-economic problems. What was the cause of it? Lack of preparedness.
The governor has approved the immediate intervention of the silting of all the canals. By next week, you see action happening.
The focus of the workshop is to build synergy between experts and policymakers towards preparedness in the event of eventualities. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Synergy between humans, animals, and environmental scientists in monitoring, preventing, and mitigating emerging diseases has been identified as one of the ways of containing the recurring outbreak of diseases in Nigeria and the African continent. These were the views of public health experts at the 2nd International Public Health Conference hosted by the National Open University of Nigeria in Abuja. The theme is Trending Issues in Public Health Services Delivery. Chimdima Ndebusi has the report.
75% of the 1,461 human diseases are linked to animals. Concerned by the rising trend of communicable and non-communicable diseases and challenges of containing them, health professionals at this conference are advocating for the adoption of One World, One Health concept, a framework which is an international and interdisciplinary approach to reducing disease burden of any given population. It was also acknowledged that Nigeria should prioritize the development of new vaccines.
There are 3 things that must happen. Fundamentals of public health. One of it is surveillance. We must develop a sound policy to be able to promote what we are doing.
Some of these policies are there, but the problem is the lack of implementation.
We are doing a lot in educating the grassroots to know about the common diseases. We are training our pharmacists to be more strengthened.
And to address one of the bugging issues in public health, which is lack of data, the workshop is training public health caregivers on the use of mobile technology in collecting data.
This conference provides participants with opportunity for interaction in the area of community health and development.
In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
We have more on NTA Network News, but this time from our Lagos Network Center with Demola. Demola, over to you.
Thank you, Kudu. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. The Nigerian power sector has the potential to drive small and big businesses and create job opportunities if properly harnessed. This was a submission of the Minister of Power, Works and Housing at a forum in Lagos. Thekla Wilke has the details.
The Nigerian power sector has continued to generate attention given its value chain on the economy. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, at a forum in Lagos says the power sector has a vast investable platform that will not only improve electricity but create jobs across the nation.
When I begin to hear, well, it seems that the power is stable now, and we haven't bought diesel for like 6 weeks, I say, well, there's a mentality there now. The pennies, the nairas and the kobos are beginning to count. And the more they count, perhaps the more we will be attuned to conservation. And that will be the road really to uninterrupted power. It will involve more than that. It will involve also the lifestyle change of how we build.
In another development, the Minister of Transportation, Chibuke Amechi, has said in Lagos that the ministry under his watch will focus on making the Nigerian rail system more viable, especially in conveying goods and services nationwide.
We will encourage as many investors as possible so that we can have the economy bounce back. The idea is to deflate the economy. And to deflate the economy, you have to bring as much money and as much investment to the economy. And the transport sector is an essential area for such investment.
Both ministers enjoined Nigerians to be more patient with the government as ongoing reforms in the various sectors will soon reflect on the economy. In Lagos, Fekla Wilkie, NTA News.
The quest for local content development in the telecommunication industry has received support from stakeholders to deepen growth in that sector in order to drive the nation's economy. Towards achieving this, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has engaged stakeholders in Lagos to fashion out ways through which Nigeria can harness the potential and benefit from the initiative.
The focus of this meeting is to map out an enabling environment for the actualization of.
In the National Assembly, we encourage as much as possible foreign investment. But while we are encouraging foreign investment, it should be balanced in such a way that Nigerians, also participate in whatever benefit that comes out of it.
Stakeholders believe that if Nigeria can develop its content locally, dependence on importation of basic materials, manpower and services will be reduced.
You're watching NTA Network News from Lagos Network Center. We'll take a break for some messages now, after which the news continues from Abuja. Stay with us.
Morning. Hi. Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you today? How are you? Morning, my son.
Hello, what's up?
Welcome, man.
Yo.
Good morning. How are you?
Everybody is coming back to campus and nobody wants to leave, because with Glow Campus Data Booster, you get 10 times the value of your data while on campus. That means 10 times your chatting, browsing, pinging, and more.
Who are these people? Come on, get this. What the?
With Glow Campus Data Booster, you get 10 times the value of your recharge in data and talk time while on campus. Dial *777# and choose your Campus Booster plan.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Introducing new Dettol multi-surface cleaner for a healthy home. Some cleaners don't kill germs, others kill germs but don't clean properly. New Dettol multi-surface cleaner gives you 10 times better germ kill, 10 times better cleaning, and all-day freshness for a healthy home.
Germs, oil and dirt cause blemishes and uneven skin tone. You need Dettol Even Tone. It removes 99.9% of germs and is formulated to remove excess oil and dirt, helping to reduce blemishes. New Dettol Even Tone.
Everyday air. Ordinary air. And then there's TomTom Air. There's air, and then there's TomTom Air. What are you breathing?
Get set, go! Get set, go!
Jago for the winner and you.
You are watching NTA Network News. World Trade Organization reviews downward its forecast for global trade growth in 2016. And Nigeria's equities market closed Tuesday on a negative note. Details with Edeawo in Business News.
Thank you. Welcome to Business News. World Trade Organization, WTO, has in its 6-monthly trade outlook reviewed forecast for global trade growth this year by more than a third. The new figure of 1.7 from the previous estimate of 2.8 in April reflects a slowdown in China and falling levels of imports into the United States. This marks the first time in 15 years that international commerce was expected to lag the growth of world economy. WTO Director General Roberto Azevedo observed that the figures were a wake-up call for governments. In another development, the market activity on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a negative note. Here is a summary of the performance and rundown of commodity prices and exchange rate. That's it on Business News. The rest of the news continues. I am Eddie A.
Former Nigeria's President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo says Nigeria needs to take 3 drastic steps in order to come out of the current economic recession. Chief Obasanjo stated this at the conference of the National Council of Finance and Economic Development holding in Abuja, Ogun State. He noted that Nigeria must reduce spending, increase revenue, and borrow to revive the economy. Lekon Agbemide has details.
The conference, with the theme Enhancing Revenue Generation and Obtaining Best Value for Money in Expenditure, attracted stakeholders in financial management at all levels of government. Addressing the conference, former President Olusegun Obasanjo said there are
to find ways of putting Nigeria out of the economic recession.
Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun said the focus of the conference was to galvanize synergy between the various drivers of economy at the various levels of government as part of the efforts to reviving the economy of the nation. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Up ahead, global tidbits, sports, and Wednesday's weather prospects. Don't go away.